Let's get started. Good morning. If you just joined us, we're reading Sri Guru and His Grace and trying to make some progress. We're up on page 111 if you're following along in your book at home. And what Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying here is really worthy of a deep meditation. And I don't know how much I can really comment on this. So I'm just going to try to read. We're on page 111, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's discussing about the nature of the parampara, and the parampara, it refers to a school. Sampradaya also means school. So the idea is we follow a particular school of thought, transcendental thought. At the same time, we know that divine knowledge is revealed, divyam jnana. It's revealed. So it can be said that a particular guru in the line is a possessor of divine knowledge. But at the same time, it's understood that divine knowledge or divine love, really, which is our concern, bhakti, is revealed to that person. And in the course of history, there are those who really shine brilliantly like the sun, the moon, and the stars. And these will be included in the parampara. So the question comes, and this was the last question posed. Why is it that certain names may be omitted from the parampara? For example, from the time of Baladev Vidyabhushan to Jagannath Das Babaji, we have no real knowledge of a list of names that carried on the school, so to speak. They were there, but Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, we honor because of all the different Babajis that came in the line. He was the guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and so of course we must honor him. And there may have been some names that were forgotten in the course of time, but before Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, the Acharya who really shines was Baladev Vidyabhushan. So he's discussed all this and what we were talking about last week. But there comes a sort of dichotomy between what Srila Sridhar Maharaj refers to as society consciousness and God consciousness. And this can be taken in general as a way to decode the idea of dharma. Because dharma, especially in its iteration as varnashram dharma, varna dharma, it really refers to society consciousness, social consciousness, how best to succeed in life, performing one's duties as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and so on. If you take a look at the laws of Manu, dharma or duty or religious activity, if you like, is really different for a Shudra or for a Brahmana. For example, for a Brahmana, honesty is highly prized, whereas for a Vaishya, a businessman, honesty is not necessarily the greatest value because obviously a merchant has to say, well, I bought this for $100, I'm offering it to you for only $90. That's the business of a merchant to uh, lie a little bit in the course of ordinary business transactions. Otherwise, he can't make a profit. So between a Vaishya and a Brahmana, there's a different focus in terms of how to successfully carry out uh, dharma or religious duty. It's also different for the Shudra. For the Shudra, what is prized is craftsmanship, hard work. And we don't really care that much about the honesty or lack of in a hardworking man. What we're interested in is how good a craftsman is he? Can he make a mridanga? Uh, so the dharma of mridanga making is different than the dharma involved in giving honest religious advice, the path of a Brahmin. But all of this comes under the banner of uh, society consciousness. And society consciousness is important for proper harmony in society, as Rousseau pointed out. Uh, the famous French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He had some objections to how the Catholic Church uh, operated in France and Europe at the time. But unlike Voltaire, one of his contemporaries, who was an atheist, Rousseau felt that some kind of a religion must be there. He felt that religion is important because if everyone is an atheist and no one believes in God, then anything is permissible. And we've seen that in our own lifetime. Nothing is sacred. No one believes in anything. Anything is permissible. And it leads to the deterioration and corruption of society. So Rousseau felt that there must be some social religion to govern properly. And so the idea of social religion, that's encoded in what we know as Varna Dharma. But there is a distinction between a higher kind of Dharma, which involves our own spiritual nature. Uh, so there's a dichotomy between what Srila Sri Ramanuja would refer to as society consciousness and God consciousness. But this is not only true in making this kind of distinction between Varna Dharma, or the laws of Manu, and sort of mystic practice, but it's also true even in the ashram, even within ashram Dharma. There's this tension between maintaining the organization and maintaining one's own spiritual practice. And oftentimes they're one. Oftentimes the sampradaya, the school, the institution offers and promotes exactly that thing which is perfect for your own spiritual adjustment. But sometimes the institution may do things or promote things that are antipathic to one's spiritual advancement. And at that point, one has to consider, well, what's more important here? My own spiritual progress or the health, safety, and well-being of the spiritual institution? And oftentimes one needs to take one's own spiritual advancement into consideration. and leave behind what may be seen as a kind of temporal adjustment that the institution is busy making. So, Sri Maharaj is focusing on this sort of in this part of the book, he begins with the question, am I God's God? He says, I'm not this physical God I'm leaving. My own physical identification should be challenged if I'm too much addicted to the physical mood or whatever. But he's saying here, if one becomes too much addicted to the physical needs of the physical institution, even if it's nominally spiritual, that should be challenged. And we should be capable of challenging this concept, even if we are administrators within the organization. We have to be able to be a bit metacognitive and step back and say, what is the essence? What am I really doing? Well, that's a very difficult thing to do. Srila Sri Rama says, who am I? Am I this physical body? If I am spiritual, then in a spiritual sphere, I shall have to look with spiritual eyes and pursue whoever will come before me who is really following the path of Mahāprabhu. And then Srila Sri Rama gives an example from the Mahāprabhu.
Sound is a little bit, not very audible. It was before, but suddenly right now I don't know if it is for me or for everyone else. I'm not too sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to speak up?
It was okay in the beginning, but it's the last a minute. It was a little.
Oh, okay. I'll have to move closer to the microphone. All right.
Okay.
So Srila Sri Rama, he gives this example from the Mahābharata. He says, when the Pandavas retired to the Himalayas, Yudhishthira Maharaj was going ahead. Nobody believed they would fall. And we often hear this section from the Moshula Parva of the Mahābharata spoken of. Because just as we were talking about this distinction between social dharma and spiritual dharma, a lot of people take the side of Duryodhana and say, well, Duryodhana followed the law. Everything that Duryodhana did, nasty as it may appear to be, was lawful, legal, and in a sense, the proper thing to do. Whereas if you look at Arjuna, there are some things that he did which are questionable. For example, when he attacks Karna. So here's this bit from the Moshula Parva at the end of Mahābharata. When the Pandavas retired to the Himalayas, Yudhishthira Maharaj was going ahead. Nobody believed they would fall. Arjuna couldn't believe that his brothers had fallen. But even after Arjuna had fallen, a dog was going on, following Maharaj Yudhishthira. We may see many men fall down in the path of Arjuna towards the spiritual goal, but still, we should try to reach the goal. And with the help of whoever comes along, I shall go. So in that section of the Mahābharata, the different Pandavas fall exhausted from the path. But Yudhishthira continues on with the help of a dog. And different things may be drawn from that. perhaps the dog lovers enjoy this section, but it turns out later that the dog is representative of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, who is also the father of Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira, because he was a great example of Dharma, for leads his brothers. So Srila Sri Ramakrishna says some may be eliminated. Even a Madhyama Adhikari may sometimes be eliminated when he falls down. It is not a happy thing, but it may occur that my guru was going ahead, taking me forward, and fell down. Then with fresh energy, invoking the help of the Lord, I shall have to go on. So Srila Sri Ramakrishna is pointing out that it's not a good thing, but it sometimes happens that one of our preceptors, who really helped us, no longer has the energy to continue on the path and then retired. That doesn't mean that we should also retire with fresh energy, he says. Invoking the help of the Lord, I shall have to go on. Even such a disaster may come in our journey, but still, we must not be cowed down. Sometimes alone, and sometimes with company, we must go on. So he's saying, even, for example, in the Tarot, there's a card, a character called the Hierophant. And I looked it up because you have the word hierarchy. So a Hierophant is something like the Pope. He's someone who enjoys a high position as an ecclesiastical authority. But we may sometimes find that ecclesiastical authorities, although they're vested with the raiments of church power and glory, may not be the best representatives of spiritual dharma. Take, for instance, the Pope in the time of St. Francis. St. Francis found that it was more a spiritual path to wander in rustic robes in the forest and try to connect more intimately with the teachings of Christ and his example through vows of poverty and simplicity. Whereas the Pope at that time represented power and power and gold. So there was a famous confrontation between the two. And Srila Sri Rama says, still, we must not be cowed down. Sometimes alone and sometimes with company, we must go on. And it's the same Srila Sri Rama's own example, in that during his own lifetime, after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta the Sri Rama took his own path, so to speak, and established his mat on the banks of the Ganges there, and the Aparad Bhanjana hut, where Jagannath and Madai famously forgiven and endowed with Krishna prem by Nityananda Prabhu. As if to say, here in this Aparad Bhanjanam pot, where sinners are forgiven, I, also a great sinner, will establish my humble temple. And Srila Sri Ramakrishna went on pretty much alone. So he says, sometimes alone, sometimes with company, we must go on. And he begins to describe here the nature of the spiritual path. And he says, first there must be sukriti, accumulated merit, and then shraddha, faith will guide it. So the idea of sukriti It's something like doing good works. There's not necessarily a direct path between Sukriti and Shraddha, faith. Uh, but there may be some relationship, just as there's no direct path between hearing arguments uh, that help us understand the existence of God and so on, and having faith. Argument alone and good works alone do not create faith, but they may help guide us. The quality of faith must be examined. Shraddha, faith, is a general term, but Shraddha may be defined into different classes. A high form of faith would be our fare on the way back to Godhead. So Sri Ramash allows here for different classes of faith. I saw a note by a devotee the other day saying that um, Jehovah is not God. Jehovah is not. So the followers of Christianity and the Old Testament are all wrong. Because if you study the nature of Jehovah in the Old Testament, he appears to be quite vengeful and petty in some ways. Just look at the case of Job and how he was set upon by a plague of boils simply because God has a debt with the devil. But sort of reading may not be entirely to the point. If we don't know says here, different sorts of faith may be defined as different classes of faith. So faith in a vengeful God is a certain kind of faith. But he says a high form of faith will be our fare on the way back to God. Sometimes we may find co-workers, and sometimes we may have to go alone. What of that? We cannot but go to the goal because we shall have the grace of so many unseen beauties. And then he should argument to discover the nature of unseen beauties. There are others also who are working, and their ideal will inspire me. Although physically I am not seeing any companion or any follower with me. So sometimes we may not have the company of such great souls, either Prabhupada, either Sri Rama or Govindama, but we have their memory and we feel that they are walking beside us and guiding us. And then we can turn to certain of our God brothers and maybe get inspiration from their example. The inspiration of the unseen gurus would be our fare. They will inspire us to go on with the journey. And our own sincere hankering for the truth will be our real God. That is Guru Hari. Who is Guru? Is Guru a body? Or is the Guru a Vairagi, renunciant? Or is the Guru only a formal guise, a hypocrite, who's showing the appearance of a sadhu, but within is doing something else? Who is Guru? Only one who will exclusively guide me to Krishna and Mahāprabhu devotion. He is my Guru, whatever he may be. Ramananda, Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy, Ramananda, why do you shrink away? Do you think I am a sannyasi and you are a grihastha? You're always hesitating to reply to my question. Do you think it does not look well for you to advise a sannyasi Brahmin? Don't hesitate. You know Krishna best. Give Krishna to me. Have courage. In this way, Mahaprabhu was encouraging Ramananda. By the grace of Krishna, you have that capital. Give it to me. You are a real capitalist. I have come to preach to the world. that you are the wealthiest capitalist of the spiritual world, and that must be used for the good of the public. Don't hesitate. Don't shrink away. Come out. Ramananda said, yes, it is your capital. You have deposited it with me, and today you've come to withdraw it from me. It is your property. I understand. And you press and push me to take it out. All right. I'm a mere instrument used by you. Whatever you want me to say, I'm ready to say. In this way, Ramananda was going on. But is Ramananda a member of the Sampradaya? We are so much indebted to Ramananda Roy, but he's not in the Guru Parampara. Still, he is more than many of the gurus who are in the Guru Parampara. Srimati Radharani is not in the Guru Parampara. Should we dismiss her? First, there should be Guru, and then there is the question of Parampara. The question of first importance is, who is you? And then there can be a chain of them. Now, should this be on my ship? There's another example in history. We mentioned Alexander the Great as a formula. That's the story of the Gordian knot. Sometimes the formula must be the sun. Once Alexander the Great was with his father, and they came upon a chariot that picked not by the river. There was an inscription above the knot, and there was written, whoever can tie this knot will be a great king. The young Alexander asked his father, what is it, father? His father replied, it's not. It's been firmly tied here, and there it is written, that whoever can loosen it will be a great king. Alexander said, I shall do it. He took out his sword and cut the rope. Is it clear? The formality should not happen. A man stood by the side and came out and said, yes, he will be a great king. He cannot be otherwise. The formalities about the side, the realistic view taken. And immediately Alexander cut the Gordian knot. The famous story. Sticking to formality, he would have been wrong. This happened also in the case of Columbus. Someone challenged, when you make a fake stand on a nail, Columbus pushed it in. Portion broke. He stood it on the nail and he said, yes, I've done the same thing. This is practical knowledge. So the real disciplic line provides practical knowledge in support of the divine life, which is coming down. We must bow down our heads wherever we find support of that. We should not become formal, but substantial, not passionate, not imitation, but realistic thinking. That should always be our company. And just to comment briefly with one can see that Srila Sridhar is an erudite, educated person beyond simply being a great spiritual teacher. He's also a thinker and one who has received a good education. And everything that is in his pocket in terms of intellectual power, he's taking out and using to demonstrate the veracity of his arguments. And so it was often said that whether Srila Sridhar Maharaj was reading the newspaper or listening to the Vedas or listening to the radio, it was all the Vedas. Everything he heard, everything he spoke was all Vedic truth. So whether it's a story of Alexander cutting the Gordian knot or Christopher Columbus balancing an egg on the point of a nail, everything Srila Sri Maharaj thinks and represents arrives at some transcendental truth. And I think we would do well to try to follow his example there, although he cannot be imitated. So we come to our next chapter here. This is called The Land of the Gurus. And we're gradually coming to the end of the book. Srila Sridhar says, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 9th chapter, 31st verse, it is stated, Na yekasmad guror jnanam shushtiram syat pushkalam. One certainly cannot get complete knowledge from one guru, from only one guru. And I believe this is in the section of the Uddhava Gita, where Uddhava describes the Avadut, and the Avadut says, everyone is my guru. I learn from everything. And this is an interesting point of view. In the highest stage of devotion, we must see not only one guru, we must see that guru is everywhere. In the land of Krishna, all are gurus. Our transformation should be towards that. Everything in the spiritual world, the entire environment, is our guru, and we are servants. To enter into Vaikuntha or Goloka means that on all sides we must see guru and pay our respect. There is gradation, of course, but all are guru. There are different classes of guru. All Vaishnavas are considered guru. If the spiritual master gives even one letter to the disciple, what is contained there is infinite. The knowledge given by the spiritual master is infinite. To know and understand it fully, however, different sources are necessary. In the highest position, one can read devotion to Krishna from everywhere. You can attain the proper vision that everything will supply inspiration towards the performance of our duty. Whenever Mahāprabhu saw a forest, he saw it as Vrindavan. Whenever he saw a river, he saw the Jamuna. Whenever he saw a hill, he saw it as Govardhana Hill. In that highest state, wherever we cast our glance, it will remind us about our living. They will teach us. They will press us to engage ourselves in service to Krishna. Wherever we cast our glance, whatever we come into contact with, will only excite your vision. That's our guru is whoever gives us impetus to the service of Krishna. Whoever helps us to look for it. So because every Atman and Vaikuntha in the world is heard this word from you, they are all who will be very confident of their
Sorry, Mahayogi Prabhu, the mic, probably your mic is not maybe near you or something. It is very, the voice is not, clear. Others can say, Haripriya, also, you also have the same. Maybe unmute yourself.
So sorry. Yes, Mahayogi, it does sound a little muffled when you're speaking. It's not all the time, it's just on some of the words.
Thank you for telling me that. That's very bad. Let me check. All right. How's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is
It's
that
better.
okay? Huh?
This,
Yeah,
this is okay. This is better. Yes.
I have a nice microphone.
see, now it's gone muffled again.
Okay, how about that? Is that better?
This is
Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that better? Or
yes.
muffled?
Crystal clear.
This
Good
is
or
better.
bad?
Yes.
That's okay. Oh, there's Teresa Lorette. She says it's good. It's good. All right. Well,
Thank
we
you.
may I may have to repeat some of that, but
The last paragraph you did was that most, it was very muffled. So that,
the last part was muffled.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll read this from where? From the part about the Bhagavatam?
No, 1 second. I will just say. No, before you. No, you started with that the next chapter. That was okay in the
The
beginning.
land of the gurus.
It was okay in the beginning, and then maybe
I
in the
see.
highest position one can read devotion to Krishna. From that, I think it was probably maybe good to read that.
Well, maybe we'll go over this again next year. You know, it's 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 really infinite. I don't know. Is my microphone sounding better now?
Yes, it is much better
Oh,
now. Yeah.
all right. This is an old computer now. So I try to do so many things with the computer, uh, create books, edit. Oh, everybody's giving me the high sign. Thank you, Teresa Lorette de Mola. All right. Well, I'll read a little bit of this again, seeing as how we were cut off. All right. We're reading this chapter. It's called The Land of Gurus. And he quotes from the Bhagavatam. I think this is from Uddhava. Somebody can Google it, 11th canto, 9th chapter. I believe this is from Uddhava. Nahya kasmad gurur jnanam sustiram syatsu pushkalam. So it says one cannot get complete knowledge from only one guru. And this is paradoxical. It sounds terrible. Well, we're supposed to have chastity, aren't we? But chastity, of course, is an internal conflict. It's not something that can be maintained externally. It's not that somebody's going to put a chastity belt on our hearts and minds and say, no, you can only do this. This is not the idea. But then again, the point is, if something is really imprinted on you as a learned behavior, you will come across it in other environments. And that will reinforce your learned behavior. So I always think I like to paint, and my mother told me, she says, why do you use so much blue? Why are you addicted to blue? Blue is killing your work. Okay. So sometimes I'm painting and I'll look at what I'm doing. And I'll remember that. And go, oh, she's right. There's two definitely. Why paint the sky blue? It's not always blue. Sometimes it's orange. And then I'll go outside, take a walk, look up at the sky, and I'll think, oh my God, who painted that? Look at that. That's not really so blue, is it? And I'll come back to the studio and think, oh, let's try some gray, see if she was right, you know. So sometimes I can hear her voice telling me, don't paint too much blue. Then I might go to an art gallery and notice some other artist's work and see, aha, is he using blue here? So, okay, my mother taught me something about blue, but I may see other artists and other masters uh, doing a similar thing that reinforces what I heard. So, like that, if your Guru Dev tells you, consider yourself a spirit soul, be humble. You can think about that, right? How is it that how am I to be humble? And you think, well, it means that when I go to the temple, I should bow down and show respect to the devotees over there. Um, but then I'm in a hurry at the supermarket and I get in line and there's three people in front of me and I'm impatient and I try to push my way in front of them. And somebody says, hey, man, be humble. And I go, oh my God, that's my guru. My guru is telling me to be humble. This is kind of the point of the uh, section in the Uddhava Gita, where the Avadut is saying, I learned this from the pigeon. I learned this from the prostitute. I saw a prostitute, and at the end of the night, she was disappointed because she couldn't find any customers. But in that hopelessness, she realized something very deep. So there's a deep truth to be had in hopelessness, and I learned that from the prostitute. So the Avadut has all these different gurus, and Srila Srinivas, he's pointing out that Gurudev may come to you in more than one way. In my own lifetime, uh, Srila Prabhupada was my guru, but he was in India mostly. He came to Los Angeles and visited with us, and I got to walk on the beach with him, and I got to hear him lecture, but I wasn't close like some others. And really, those other devotees, they taught me many things. And so they were my gurus. But then I had the opportunity to go to India and meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj, stay in his ashram, and really study his teachings. So he was my guru. But without Govinda Maharaj, I would never have been initiated by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And the first time I met him, I didn't think much. I was surprised. He seemed like an ordinary person. Srila Sridhar Maharaj put me off and put me off. He said, well, let's wait until Govinda Maharaj comes. And I kept thinking, who is this Govinda Maharaj? And then I met this unassuming gentleman dressed in white with lots of greasy black hair and a jolly smile. And I thought, well, how can he be Maharaj? He's not wearing a sannyasi outfit, you know. But over time, it became very clear to me that Srila Govinda Maharaj was an esteemed disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and also my guru, Bhakti Sudhir Goswami guided me for many years as we put these books together. And in many ways, I consider him to have been my guru. So the point is, try to be open. And when you need a teacher, the teacher will come. The whole point of our book here is the need for a teacher because I can't do this on my own. We need spiritual guidance. We even need material guidance because there's so many things I really just can't do all alone on my own, even though Srila Sridhar Maharaj points out. But sometimes you have to go along. You don't have anybody by your side to help you. All right, well, that's what spiritual strength is all about. But in the 11th canto here, Uddhava is telling us it's not just one guru. In the highest stage of devotion, we may see not only one guru, we may see that guru is everywhere. In the land of Krishna, all are gurus. Our transformation should be towards that. And the wonderful thing about this book in particular, Srila Sri Ramarsa's teachings in general, is he's such a brilliant speaker that I can stop anywhere with a very dramatic quote from Srila Sri Ramarsa. Said, "It ends here," you know. He says, "We must see that Guru is everywhere. In the land of Krishna, all are gurus. Our transformation should be towards that." So you can put a period there and end the talk. I'd like to end the talk here. I can see what's happening with my microphone. But was that better? Maybe it's my voice. I'm beginning to lose steam.
That was much better. Your voice is not losing anything. Thank you.
Oh, one who flatters me is my enemy, so I'm surrounded by enemies today. I have to tell you, I love flattery, which is a very dangerous thing for anyone on the path. But we thank you all for joining us this morning, and
thank you.
We won't see you until then. So those who celebrate Christmas, I have a friend who says, "We wish you a Hare Krishna." We Vishnu a Hare Krishna. We Vishnu a Hare Krishna. And a Happy New Year. And we'll see you all next time. There she is. It's Teresa Lorette Mola, looking good. Peace and love. And thanks again for everything and all your help. And we hope you sell a lot of paintings. Think about that. What do you think about the blue? Is it possible to use too much blue?
Well, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about what you were saying because I am using blue as base now and working in contrast. So I don't know. There is something I have to think about. I'll send you some pictures so you tell me.
Well,
Dandavad.
it's like the Impressionists,
Dandavad.
right? Like the Impressionists never used black. So, I went through a period of time where I was like, don't use black ever, never. Because if you use black, it puts a big black hole in your painting. So they said. So the Impressionists, they used Prussian blue mixed with, burnt umber or something, but they never used black. Some people never use white. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not the pro. You are.
You work very intuitive, and I think I do it too. They say you have to learn the rules, then forget it, and that is applied to everything.
That's right. So you see a rule and you go, okay, that's a good rule. I'm going to follow that one. And you stick with the rule for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And then you go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave that. Let somebody else follow that rule. So peace and love. Hare Krishna. We'll see you all.
Best wishes to all for this Christmas and New Year. Best wishes to all. Have a very beautiful time.
Best wishes to all. Peace and love.
You too.
And Gaurav Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Madhusudana Raj, if you're out there listening, Hare Krishna to you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Dandavad,
Prabhu ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. My dandavats.
Jai. Dandavad Madhusudan Maharaj. Haribol.
Haribol.
Dandavats. Dandavats all everybody.
Thank you, Suvasini. Everybody good? The Kumar household?
Yes.
I wish you